kita ingin fokuskan, tapi kadang ada juga yang sisi keringnya itu yang tidak langsung berhubungan dengan.
So can I get the second slide? Thank you. This is how the United States national team, World Championships, Olympics, World Juniors, Pan Pacifics, Pan Americans, anything, big events, this is what happens. We start years in advance with our planning. Location of the training pool. The staff, we would travel to look at the facility. We would have to have adequate training, first-class hotel, easy access from the side, video, team activities, airport, approximately to ground transportation, and the time zones. So you can imagine how much time, money, but time spent by people like Russell and myself trying to plan for the next big event.
Oke. Ini tadi dry side yang sisi keringnya yang tidak berhubungan langsung, tapi justru ini juga merupakan satu hal yang penting. Jadi biasanya itu dimulai perencanaan 3-4 tahun sebelumnya, bayangkan, ya. Terus dipikirkan latihannya di mana, terus kemudian staf pendukungnya, latihannya travelnya bagaimana, kolamnya, kemudian hotel diperhatikan juga yang terbaik, ya. Kemudian akses untuk ruang pijat, untuk video review, aktivitas tim, bahkan jarak dari airport ke hotel itu seperti apa, naik apa, sampai kemudian perbedaan waktu dan sebagainya. Ini sukses dibalik ini cerita dibalik kesuksesan tim Amerika.
So I want you to see where it says first class hotel. And the reason I point that out is because when you make one of the highest level teams in the United States, we want you to be rewarded, and we want you to stay someplace where you're going to be very, very, very comfortable.
Oke, jadi near first class hotel, jadi fasilitas penginapan yang terbaik, dibuat senyaman mungkin, dibuat sebaik mungkin agar para atlet itu bisa memberikan hasil yang terbaik juga.
I don't expect you to be staying in the most expensive hotels for your trips with your athletes, but you want to make sure that you pay attention to things that can make a difference in how your athlete performs. You want to make sure that they're educated as to what to eat, when to eat, how much rest, how to prepare before. That's important. So not just showing up and racing, just make sure that you think of things that might help your athlete be better at the competition.
Oke, jadi tidak perlu harus melulu di bintang 5 atau mungkin yang lebih dari itu. Yang terpenting adalah atlet kita nanti dididik untuk bisa fokus untuk bertanding dengan fasilitas baik, kapan harus makan pagi, siang, dan malam, dan seterusnya, dan juga tentu kualitas dari tempat penginapan, kualitas dari makannya itu juga menjadi yang terbaik buat atlet.
So we'll go to the next slide, please. Now the wet side, we wanted to make sure that the pool had FINA World Aquatic starting blocks, a dry land area where video set up, a snack area where they can have some snacks, stretching, massage, shade tents, training hours coordinated with the competition, the heats, and the finals. So when you go to a swim meet with your team, you want to make sure that you get there early to have a good place. If it's outside, you want to set up a shade tent for your athletes. You want to make sure that there's plenty of water or energy drink or whatever. You know, just, you need to always be thinking ahead. Outthink your competition. Just the littlest thing can make a difference in your athletes because they see that you're treating them special. And they appreciate that. And you're thinking ahead.
Oke. Ini yang website-nya yang langsung berhubungan dengan fasilitas di kolam ya. Jadi tadi sampaikan di akhir kita harus memberikan sesuatu yang lebih untuk atlet kita. Datang duluan, cari tempat yang paling nyaman. Kemudian kita harus cek starting blocks-nya, dari tempat relen atau aktivasinya seperti apa, video kalau untuk kamera, untuk snack areanya juga disiapkan, stretching area, massage juga harus ada. Jadi ini biasa sudah kita lakukan ya di timnas dan tentunya jam latihan juga harus cocok, kapan penyisihan, kapan final, kita udah harus tahu jadwal bis dan seterusnya.
Little things make a difference. Little things like this, little things that you say, little things that you do make a difference.
Hal kecil akan membuat perbedaan yang besar.
Okay, we'll go to the next one. So, my job. I have been to 5 Olympics. Sydney, Athens, Beijing, London, Rio. And those happen to be the 5 Olympics that Michael Phelps was at too. But 2000, 2004, 2008, I was a coach, not an administrator, coach.
Oke, jadi selama Olimpiade terakhir, 3 diantaranya Coach Frank menjadi pelatih tim USA. Jadi dari Athens, kemudian dari Athens mana tadi? Kemudian Beijing, Athens, Sydney, Beijing, London dan Rio. Ya, 3 diantaranya Coach Frank menjadi pelatih timnas.
So I had the experience of being on those staffs and watching how the person that was in my position then, how they led the team, how they interacted with the coaches, how the coaches were selected. I watched how that was done, and some parts of it I thought were very good, and some parts of it I didn't think were very good. So when I became the national team director, I began to make some changes in the way we did things.
Oke, jadi selama menjadi national team director, Coach Frank juga mengalami hal yang baik dan mengalami hal yang tentunya juga kurang baik. Nah itu selama itu makanya dinamika menjadi memimpin tim nasional itu tidak selamanya mempunyai prestasi yang bagus, ada juga kadang-kadang prestasinya turun dan dia harus terus bertanggung jawab terhadap perkembangan atau hasil tersebut.
So the coaching staff, the head coach for men, head coach for women, those are usually chosen by me maybe 2 years in advance, and then the assistant coaches were chosen at the Olympic trials by the number of athletes or how high they finished at the trials. So for instance, if you had someone like Missy Franklin, She was the 100 backstroke champion in our Olympic trials, the 200 backstroke champion in our Olympic trials. She was one of our best freestylers. So her coach was chosen to be part of the staff. So it would be based on how well your swimmers were doing, and that's how you were chosen. The head coaches being chosen two years in advance was because they had proven that they had leadership, they proved that they were going to have athletes on the team, and they also, to me, I felt like they knew exactly what I wanted.
Oke. Jadi proses pemilihan pelatih ya ini cukup menarik. Jadi untuk head coach-nya itu ada head coach untuk laki, head coach untuk perempuan, dan dipilihnya biasanya 2 tahun sebelum Olimpik. Nah, dipilih oleh Coach Frank sebagai tim director. Kemudian asisten coach-nya dipilih pada saat Olympic trial. Ya, jadi head coach itu dipilih berdasarkan track record, kepemimpinan, leadership, dan juga tentunya atlet-atletnya yang hampir dipastikan untuk masuk ke dalam tim Olimpik tersebut.
So, on the bottom here, teams choose their athletes to make the Olympic team lots of different ways. Everybody has a different way. We have trials. You must be first or second individually to make the team, or you must be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the freestyle to make one of the freestyle relays. So there's no, if you're sick, it's too bad. If something happens, if you miss your race, you can't change that. It's very, very objective. Where you finish depends on whether or not you make the team.
Oke. Dan juga pada saat pemilihan, proses pemilihan atau kualifikasi, biasanya untuk relay itu diambil sampai 6, ya, karena ada cadangan juga. Dan tidak ada pengecualian, pokoknya yang finish sesuai 1, 2, 3 atau untuk 1, 2, 3 sampai 6 untuk estafet, 1, 2 untuk perorangan. Jadi kalau ada yang sakit atau berhalangan itu, walaupun dia waktunya lebih bagus sebelum trials, maka dia otomatis tidak akan terpilih.
We've had world record holders not make the team because they finished third.
Ya, jadi ada pemegang rekor dunia pun tidak terpilih, walaupun dia pemegang rekor dunia karena dia di babak pemilihan atau kualifikasi itu hanya di nomor 3.
So, the amount of days, we'll go back, there. The amount of days between our trials and the Olympics, our history is best, our athletes perform the best between 28 and 33 days between the two competitions. We know how to take an athlete that's been ready to go. The Olympic trials are more difficult than the Olympics in the United States. More difficult. The pressure is so great. Once you make the Olympic team, you get nervous, but not the same way at trials. And so we know that all of our best performances happen between 28 to 33 days.
Oke, jadi ini adalah jangka waktu ya sebelum Olimpik mereka baru dipilih. Kualifikasi baru dipilih itu 28 sampai 33 hari. Jadi kurang lebih sebulan. Ya, kenapa Amerika selalu sukses. Dan juga dalam pemilihan itu kualifikasinya ini hampir sering memang lebih sulit untuk masuk tim Amerika daripada memenangkan medali di Olimpik ya. Ini istilahnya seperti itu karena memang persaingannya sangat ketat sekali untuk bisa masuk tim di Amerika.
I have seen so many countries make mistakes between choosing their teams and performing at the Olympics because they would always change the amount of time, or they felt like there was only one way to do things. And when you have athletes in a big meet and they have to perform again in 28 to 33 days, if you, whatever you do, have a system that you work on to see whether or not that's going to be good for you, because there's going to come times when there are two big meets. One time your swimmer is going to have to qualify, and the next time your swimmer is going to have to be even better. And as a coach, that's going to happen to you. It's going to happen to everyone in this room. That will happen. So you have to think about what you need to do between.
Oke, jadi banyak negara-negara melakukan kesalahan ya dengan tidak konsisten menyelenggarakan kualifikasinya itu kadang 3 bulan, kadang bahkan 6 bulan, ada 2 bulan dan seterusnya. Nah ini yang dilakukan Amerika cukup konsisten selama puluhan tahun dan ini memang sudah terbukti sukses, di mana kita tetap harus melihat kebutuhan dari tim tersebut dan juga masa persiapan menjelang Olimpiade.
When I was a young coach, I went to Sweden with some swimmers. I told this story to listeners. And the Swedish coach had asked me, how do you know exactly when to taper your swimmers? How do you know they're going to be perfect on the day that you want them to be perfect? And I thought, well, I've always looked at it like an airplane. You start the season like this, you train, and then you land the plane. That's what I thought. And they said, what happens if you miss the runway? I didn't have an answer. So,
Oke. Ya, yang menarik tadi kita bicara mengenai hal ini itu mengenai tapering ya. Jadi Coach Frank ke Swedia waktu itu dan bicara dengan salah satu pelatih nasional di Swedia, menanyakan gimana sih cara membuat waktu taper yang tepat gitu ya. Jadi diibaratkan seperti naik pesawat, naik season, latihan, kemudian turun untuk persiapan landing. Nah ditanya, kalau misalkan landingnya nggak pas di runway, nah pasti kan akan hasilnya kurang bagus. Nah, Coach Frank bilang, saya nggak tahu jawabannya seperti apa.
So they said to me, this is what we do. We like to see our swimmers swimming pretty fast about 2 weeks before the big competition. And I thought, I like that. Because if they're not swimming fast 2 weeks before, they're probably not rested enough if they've worked hard. And your eyes are your best coach. Your eyes. If my hips are this far under the water, when I'm swimming, I'm tired. When my hips come up, I'm getting rested. I look better. I'm swimming faster. So let your eyes be your coach. And so what made me feel good about listening to what the Swedes said was that if they look good 2 weeks out, you can always hold that. You can go back up and do some yardage, just to keep them there, and then you can sharpen the blade even more because they're going to be so much faster in 2 weeks. But if 2 weeks before they look terrible, it's because they're not rested. Usually, that's what's happening. So think about that. When there's a certain amount of time between events, when you're getting ready for your big meet, it's okay if they look good 2 weeks out, because you can hold that and then you can sharpen the blade a little bit more with some speed and let them come in, and they'll be very, very good.
Oke, jadi kemudian tadi jawab Coach Frank bilang nggak tahu, tapi pelatih Swedia tersebut bilang biasanya mereka melakukan kayak semacam kompetisi kecil atau tes 2 minggu sebelum pertandingan taper tersebut. Dan jika atletnya berenangnya lebih sudah cepat mendekati waktu terbaik, artinya mereka hanya tinggal maintain dan sedikit taper, artinya mereka udah siap. Tapi kalau misalkan waktunya masih pelan dan tadi disampaikan posisi badannya, hipsnya masih tenggelam, artinya mereka perlu istirahat dan mengurangi porsi latihan.
It's very different for younger kids. Younger kids don't need much rest. They have energy. They wake up with energy. Their energy all over the place. When they get tired, they crash. But older kids, it's different. If they've been working hard, if they've been doing everything that you've asked, they've been training hard, kicking hard, swimming hard, lifting hard, dry land, whatever, they're going to need some time to rest. And when they start resting, they usually feel bad. They say, "Coach, I'm out of shape. I feel bad, I'm swimming so slow. I feel bad." It's okay. It's okay. They're going to go down, and as they get rest, they're going to feel better, and they're going to feel better, and they're going to be better and better. That's if they've worked hard. Because if you work hard, you can rest long. If you don't work hard, then you don't need rest.
Oke, jadi paper ini juga berbeda tentunya untuk anak-anak usia dini ya, mungkin anak-anak di bawah 15 tahun mereka masih punya banyak energi, jadi papernya mungkin tidak perlu terlalu banyak. Beda mungkin dengan atlet yang usia menjelang dewasa 16 sampai 16 ke atas misalnya, itu perlu dilihat semakin mereka bekerja keras, semakin banyak taper yang mereka perlukan, dan sebaliknya kalau tidak terlalu keras latihannya, taper juga tidak perlu banyak. Yang terpenting adalah ketika taper, biasanya awal-awal itu badan rasanya feelingnya kurang enak karena itu merupakan suatu proses transisi recovery.
Let your eyes be your coach, and during the rest period with your older kids, you have to be a psychologist. They start doubting you. They wonder if they're going to be out of shape. They wonder what they're doing. They feel bad. And that's when you have to be a psychologist.
Ya, jadi kalau memang pada awal-awal masa tapering mulai turun, biasanya itu tadi rasanya badannya feelingnya kurang enak, kok agak capek dan seterusnya. Nah itu disitulah makanya kita mulai harus memberikan motivasi seperti layaknya seorang psychologist ya. Jadi harus tetap dimotivasi dan menyampaikan bahwa itu adalah proses yang normal dan wajar ketika mulai awal-awal taper.
If they've worked hard, don't be afraid to rest. Rest is good.
Kalau mereka latihannya cukup keras, jangan khawatir dan jangan ragu untuk memberikan istirahat kepada mereka, karena istirahat itu merupakan hal yang paling baik.
Okay, we can go to the next one. So, we're at the Olympic trials, and we're selecting the Olympic team. And so, I start, if you have a swimmer that makes the team, but you're not on the staff, you have one swimmer, second 100 backstroke, they make the team. I recognize you, I make sure that I talk to you, we have a meeting, I ask you to write the program for the next 28 to 33 to whatever days between the trials and when they're going to race at the Olympics. I make sure that you get a signed American Olympic flag. Recognize, you're going to go home with your athlete for maybe 4 or 5 days before we go to our camp. And I'm going to ask you to write the program that you want for the next 4 or 5 weeks. So as a personal coach, you're involved. And you're going to give me that program, and I'm going to try and make sure that the assistant coach, whoever is coaching your athlete, they have that, and we begin to mix that together with the other coaches. So, and I ask you to come to our domestic camp. We have 2 camps for the Olympics. We have a camp in the United States, and then we have a camp near where the Olympics are being held. So when we went to, and I'll explain that later, but when we went to London, we had a camp and in Knoxville, Tennessee. And then from there, we went to Vichy, France, did our camp there. And then we went to London from there. When we were in Knoxville, I invited all of the coaches that had a swimmer that made the team. I wanted them to come and be the assistant coaches of the assistant coaches of the team. Because I wanted the athletes to feel good about who was around them and that they were going to do well at the games. I didn't want to disassociate, to separate. I wanted them to be included. But once we left from the United States to France, that was just the Olympic staff. That was the head coach, 3 assistant coaches for men, head coach, 3 assistant coaches for women, and the staff. They went to France, the coaches stayed back.
Oke, jadi ini juga penghargaan untuk pelatih. Jadi mungkin karena ada keterbatasan kuota, biasanya kalau Olimpiade itu atau SEA Games, Asian Games kuotanya sangat sedikit. Jadi ada mungkin pelatih yang atletnya terpilih namun tidak bisa masuk ke dalam kuota tersebut. Nah itu biasanya diberikan penghargaan. Ya. Penghargaan itu mungkin mereka juga diakui sebagai pelatih tim Olimpik, namun tidak bisa mendampingi atletnya. Kadang-kadang kalau ada camp di Amerika mereka diundang juga untuk bisa mendampingi atletnya. Juga mungkin selama 5 minggu persiapan dari kualifikasi, mereka juga boleh memberikan program yang biasa diberikan kepada atlet-atletnya yang terpilih tersebut.
The last day of the Olympic trials, that night, the team is recognized to the crowd. They stay in the hotel. The next morning, we do a practice together. We have a big breakfast meeting. We talk about what I want you to do when you go home. You get fitted for your uniform. You get a ring. You get many things. And then once that's all finished, you go home for about 4 days and obviously continue your training. And then we meet up at the first camp.
Biasanya hari terakhir setelah kualifikasi, kami memang sistem pemilihan cukup jelas dan transparan. Semuanya langsung diberikan apresiasi. Itu ada cincin Olimpiade, kemudian juga diukur seragamnya, mereka nginep di hotel, besok pagi latihan bersama, sarapan pagi bersama, dan di briefing. Jadi ini satu hal yang memang sudah menjadi tradisi di tim Amerika, dan itulah yang membuat mereka sangat bangga kalau masuk ke tim nasional.
So we talk about the code of conduct. When you go home, talk to the media. We want you to talk to wherever you're from, what town, what city. You talk to them, get that out of the way. And then we also talk about, the things that we expected when you're on the Olympic team for the United States, expectations.
Oke. Juga diberikan exposure ke media dari mana klubnya, dari mana kotanya atau provinsinya, yang juga diberikan aturannya, apa yang ekspektasi yang diharapkan sebagai atlet timnas.
So, this is important for you. When you go to a pool with your athletes for a competition, you should walk them around. Let them see where the locker rooms are. Let them see where the warm down pool is. Let them know where you're going to sit. Make sure, especially if they're anxious, you want to show them everything so they feel good. They know that you know where everything is. They know where to find you. They know where their parents are supposed to be. They're not supposed to be with their parents. They're supposed to be with the team. It's important you show them those little things. To us, it's like it's the bathroom. That's over there. You can get a drink over there, whatever. But to them, when they're nervous and they're young, they want you to show them where things are.
Oke. Jadi ketika baru sampai di tempat pertandingan, biasanya mereka memberikan tour, ya, kamar changing roomnya di mana, kemudian kolam pemanasan, kolam bertanding, call room misalkan, massage area, video table, semua relaxation, makanan kalau mau snack biasanya disediakan ada di mana dan seterusnya. Jadi ini yang menjadi kelebihan dari tim Amerika ini, dan mereka memang sudah mempunyai tradisi dan standar operasional itu sudah sangat teratur dengan baik.
So the managers, the travel, now we're in the Olympic, we're going to be in the Olympic Village. So the managers will walk the team, the coaches, all around, the whole venue, everything, where all the locker rooms, where the media, where the team area, warm-up pool, everything, where they can get snacks. All of that is critical. These are 20, 21, 22, 23, 30-year-old athletes. We walk them through everything so they know, because they're very nervous. They're at the Olympics. For your kids, when they go to a big meet, they're the same. They feel like it's their Olympics. It's a big meet for them. So we make sure that everything is done. They know where everything is, and they relax, they feel better. Okay, I know where the coaches are. I know what I need to do. I know where the drug testing is. I know where the team area is. So the more information you can share with your kids, it's only going to help.
Oke, jadi tadi sudah disampaikan, jadi intinya adalah supaya atlet-atlet yang mungkin masih baru pertama kali ikut pertandingan penting seperti Olimpik dan lainnya itu, mereka tidak nervous, tidak takut. Mereka tahu harus kemana, pelatih ada di mana, kemudian juga ruang grouping ada di mana dan seterusnya. Jadi itu yang memberikan salah satu motivasi kepada atlet-atlet yang baru untuk menghilangkan rasa takutnya.
So, you may know this, you may not know this. The United States is the only country that does not receive government funding for their Olympic sports. Let me say that again. The United States is the only country that I know of that does not receive government funding for its Olympic sports.
Oke, jadi Amerika mungkin salah satu negara yang tidak mempunyai dukungan dari pemerintah untuk olahraga Olimpik atau Olympic sportnya itu sendiri.
We receive our funding from the United States Olympic Committee and from sponsors.
Mereka mendapatkan bantuan dananya dari koinnya atau penyedia Olimpiade Amerikanya dan juga para sponsor swasta.
You can see that's so good because I don't have to ask you. Is it okay if we go do our training camp over there? And three of you might say, yes, that's good. And you're like, no, you can't do it. We determine from our experience where to go, when to go, how to go, what to do. It gives us control. Now, like I told you before, some of you have a lot of pool space, some of you don't have much pool space. It's your job to do the best that you can do with what you have. That's your job as the coach.
Oke. Jadi mereka tidak tergantung seperti di Indonesia harus menunggu keputusan dari pemerintah, ada yang setuju, ada yang tidak setuju. Tapi mereka justru lebih independen. Mereka menentukan kapan dan di mana mereka akan melakukan camp atau pertandingan tryout dan seterusnya. Jadi itulah kelebihan mereka, kenapa mereka sangat maju. Dan yang terpenting adalah sama seperti ketika kita menjadi pelatih, tidak mempunyai banyak kesempatan atau tidak mempunyai banyak fasilitas, tapi kita tetap harus bisa kreatif untuk bisa mencapai tujuan.
Okay, so now I'm going to tell you some stories. Stories are always better than anything else. So, in 2004, you can go on your phone and look at the men's 4x1 relay, 4x100 freestyle relay, 2004. Does anyone know who won that? South Africa. I coached those 4 swimmers. It was a big upset. But the story behind it was the best part. Because they're sponsored by, they wanted to do things a certain way. They wanted to take the swimmers from Tucson, Arizona, 1 month before the Olympics, and they wanted them to do a training camp in another country. And I said, no, we don't want to do that. We want to keep them here. They're comfortable here. Let them be here longer. Let them be here longer. No, we want to send them to another country. They wanted to send them to Israel, to train in Israel, because it was closer to Athens. They thought that would be, no. And they wanted, they're good. They're good right here. And we started talking about this probably in January. The Olympics were in August. So it was a constant talking back and forth and just battling. So finally they said, okay. And I'm on the American staff. I'm one of the coaches for America. And I've got these 4 kids from South Africa. And we've been talking for months about we can do something special. You guys I'm not saying we're going to win. I didn't talk about winning, but I said we can do something special for your country. They were all excited, but they were very angry that I was getting pushback. It's okay. So they were able to stay longer in Tucson. I had to leave to go to camp with the American kids. One of my assistant coaches was in charge of these 4 guys. So we finally convinced South Africa that we would go to, I think we went to Italy with the 4 guys. Italy's close to Greece. And then they wanted the athletes to be in the village on the very first day. No. You go into the village, you feel the pressure. The village is just pressure. You feel it. You don't need to get there too early. So I said, no, just get them maybe 4 days in advance, but not 10. You know, the village opens almost 2 weeks before the Olympics begin. They open the village up so you can come. And a lot of countries go because they don't have facilities. They come and they actually train before the games. Anyway, so they go to Italy, and that works out great. And then they come to Athens, and they get there 4 days before. And I'm on the side of the pool. I'm on the American team. I'm very proud to be an American. But these 4 boys, I trained them. They were on my team, my college team. They're very, very special to me, very special, like my sons. So they swim in the morning, qualify first, and 2/10 off the world record. So needless to say, I can't jump up and down. I'm on the American staff. I'm supposed to be cheering for the Americans. But in my inside, I'm exploding. So there's only 4 of them. The United States, Australia, maybe France, maybe Great Britain, maybe Canada, they can interchange. They can have 2 fresh guys come on the team at night as opposed to who swam in the morning. I mean, I would imagine most of you kind of know that. So these 4 guys have to go back and rest, come back and swim the finals. No changes. The Americans, we change. We put Michael Phelps on. We put somebody else on. The race goes off. The South Africans win. They set a world record. The Americans get 3rd. The reason I say this to you is because fighting for those 4 guys to be allowed to be the best they can be is the same way you want to fight for your swimmers to make sure they can be the best they can be. And don't let people that don't know you and your athletes, don't let them tell you what to do with your athletes, because you know them. You work with them every day. You know their personalities. So that's my story about South Africa, and he doesn't need to really translate that, maybe later, but there's more. Beijing. I'm on the Olympic staff at Beijing. Do you remember, when were the finals in Beijing? Does anybody remember when the finals were in Beijing?
4x1 freestyle.
Yeah, but what time of the day? Beijing. When were the finals?
At night.
They were in the morning. First time in Olympic history. The finals are in the morning. Why? Because the Americans paid NBC, the network, paid millions of dollars to the IOC because Michael Phelps was trying to win 8 gold medals. The Americans wanted, that would be in the morning in Beijing, would be the perfect nighttime in the United States to watch. So it was all about money. And obviously it happened. And Michael won his 8 medals, and NBC was very happy, and all of America got to watch it. But one country, the rest of the countries, they hated the United States for doing that. They were so angry. You're doing the finals in the morning. This is not what we do. Well, for us, we had to make changes too. We had our trials, prelims in the morning, finals at night, but as soon as we got to camp, we started swimming fast in the morning and swimming and doing the workouts at night. If you wanted to go fast in our camp, you did it in the morning to get used to that. So politics, money, things talk. 2016, Rio. Does anybody remember what time finals started in Rio? Okay, for America, for us, we wanted them to be prime time. Prime time television in America is 7 to 8 o'clock. That's when everybody watches television in America. So NBC wanted the finals to be then. That was 10 o'clock Rio time. 10 o'clock. Prelims, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. 1 o'clock in the afternoon prelims, 10 o'clock at night finals. So we have our Olympic trials at our regular times. Our very first camp, we did in Texas. Texas was 4 hours difference in time from Rio. So our morning practice at our first camp, our morning practice started at 11. Our night practice started at 7. We went from there. We were going to go to Puerto Rico. But do you remember Zika? Remember the word Zika? The virus. We didn't go to Puerto Rico. We went to Atlanta. First time we never had a foreign camp. We went to Atlanta. We did our morning practice, 12 o'clock. We did our night practice, 9 o'clock. So our kids would go swim at 9 o'clock at night, go to practice, eat dinner at midnight, and then go to bed. When we flew to Rio de Janeiro, I wanted the plane to land at 11:30 at night in Rio. 11:30. You think, what? By the time we got through accreditation, got our kids into the dorm room, 2 o'clock in the morning. 2 o'clock in the morning. Who would do that? We did it. Why? Because when finals start at 10, they finish at about 11:30. By the time you eat, by the time you're drug tested, by the time you get a massage, you're going to bed at 2 o'clock. So we started doing these things way in advance. A week, 8, 9 days in advance. So when we got to Rio, we were ready. But I looked at some of the other teams, they weren't ready. Some teams had special sun lamp lights on in their team area. I thought, what is that? Other teams were completely out of gas after 3 days, tired. You could just tell they weren't used to that. So, those are my stories about preparation. Those are the reasons why it's so important to pay attention to the details of things. Because every detail can make a difference between how well your athlete performs or if they don't. And so the better prepared you are, you prepare them in the water, don't you? You prepare your athletes in the water, you want to prepare them outside the water too. And that's why no matter what happens, your job is to do things that get your athletes to grow. If your athletes, no matter how young they are, no matter how old they are, if your athletes grow, if they can do this and see more of the world, they're less threatened. They have less problems. They become more mature. They're easier to coach. And you've got them right where you want them. right in the palm of your hand. And you're going to mold them into what you want. So that's why challenge them. Put them on the block when there's no warm-up. Do different things with them in practice. Teach them to be able to, don't be afraid of change. Don't be afraid of something new. The more you give them this, the easier they are to coach and the faster they're going to be. Thank you very much. This has been an absolute pleasure to be with you, to be with all the people that have been involved. I hope some of the things that I've shared with you will be helpful for you. I'm at a place in my life, I just want to give back. Everybody's different. Every country's different, every culture's different. But if you think different, if you think out of the box, you're going to give your kids a chance, a better chance. So thank you very much.
Semangat sekali dia cerita, jadi saya terusin aja. Tapi saya coba jelaskan sedikit apa yang disampaikan tadi oleh Coach Frank, bahwa ketika dia menjadi Director Tim Nasional Amerika, banyak sekali hal-hal yang kita pelajari kan. Jadi bagaimana detailnya persiapan sebelum berangkat ke Olimpik itu seperti apa. Tadi dia ternyata punya anak didik juga yang dari Afrika Selatan, ternyata dia bisa mendapatkan emas. Cerita tentang Michael Phelps mendapatkan 8 medali, Harsiar itu lebih penting ya, ujungnya cuan-cuan. Terus yang terakhir tadi di Rio mengenai perbedaan waktu, dia rubah semua kebiasaan supaya atlet bisa tetap tampil maksimal di pertandingan. Ya, jadi menarik sih ceritanya tadi. So, terima kasih juga dari dari Frank tadi. Mudah-mudahan dia bisa kembali ke sini lagi. So just summarize the one that we've been talking about, the preparation details, advance, adaptation, implementation, right? Oke.
Yes.
Oke, terima kasih. Ada pertanyaan? Sorry, ada pertanyaan. Pertanyaan? Kalau nggak ada, saya dulu nih. If there's no question, I will ask. Understood that the preparation of the USA swimming team on every big meets is always first class. You know, like for the athletes, the way they prepare, the way they've been served, the way the routine. You have Reiki trips before to make sure everything is on place. I was wondering, you have this plan on budgeted this at the beginning of the year, or you actually, like you said, 2 years prior the Olympic, you actually prepare everything? Is that how you start doing the budget 2 years prior, or are you just doing the budget like annually, the end of the year for the next year and so on? How do you actually manage those details?
Our budgets are in usually 4-year blocks. So we estimate if the World Championships are in Istanbul, then we try and get an idea of what it's going to cost to fly there, how much it's going to cost for the athletes, transportation, food, staff, and so on. So the IOC, or the USOC, asks us for some budget projections. And we're usually pretty good with that. And we might be over a few $1,000s, or we might be under, but we have to plan this years in advance.
Jadi tadi saya nanya mereka persiapan budgetnya tuh untuk Olimpik, tadi kan dibilang 2 tahun, ternyata mereka budgetnya 4 tahun di awal disiapkan, ya mirip Indonesia 4 bulan sebelumnya. I was saying that in Indonesia we have 4 months before.
Oh, that's 4 months is good. The The day after about a week after the Olympics, we're already thinking about the next Olympics.
Ya, jadi itulah ya, jadi kenyataan perbedaan ya bagaimana negara maju dan kita berusaha maju ya masih lumayan jauh ya, itu PR dari kita semua dan saya juga untuk bisa paling tidak dari 4 bulan bisa ke 1 tahun bahkan 2 tahun lah supaya kita juga bisa merencanakan program-program ya. That's impressive. 4 years. Wow. Ada lagi menarik ternyata ya.
Coach, what is the treatment in USA for the winner and the loser? I mean, the one who lose the target and the Olympic win.
What is the different treatment? Is there any different treatment for, let's say, the gold medalist and the non-medalist in the Olympic? Is
No
there any
difference. Everyone is treated the same.
Yeah.
And that's probably really important for you to know too with your team. Treat everyone the same on your team. No one gets special treatment. Because that's when things go bad. Parents go bad, other athletes go bad, treat everyone the same.
Ya, jadi jangan ada perbedaan antara yang dapat medali emas sama yang tidak mendapatkan medali sama sekali. Ya, semuanya harus diperlakukan sama. Except one here in Indonesia. I'm just trying to tell you, the gold medalists usually they receive a lot of rewards from the government. The non-medalists they receive thank you. I'm just
Now, you get money from the USOC and from United States Swimming. For a gold medal, United States Swimming, $75,000. A bronze medal, silver medal, $50,000. Bronze medal, $25,000. That's USA Swimming. On top of that, the USOC, gold medal, $60,000. Silver medal, maybe $40,000, bronze medal, $20,000. So, if I win Michael Phelps, I win 8 times 75,000 plus 8 times 60,000, almost $1 million. So that's okay. NBC won. Yes, there's a lot of the kids have sponsors. Things are changing at the collegiate level in the United States right now. There's athletes are beginning to be able to make money. Never before. I mean, it's just started 3 years ago. But yes, there are definitely sponsors like Nathan Adrian with Finnis, and he might have been with Arena and so on. Yeah, and they yes.
That system is not good. So you don't have, like for example, you don't have manager or
Right.
but in the US have a system where the pro or non-pro usually has people who are concentrating or signing up with conference or training partners. But that system is there where
Yes.
you have conference sign up. Especially if it's a non-recognized sport, there's no money. So, yes, I understand these guys have fun from home, have fun, but the system where it supports the sport.
Yes.
And I do understand it supports everyone and the universities and also for everyone. But what I found the changing time is
So the question is, there are some countries that have more money than other countries. There are some countries that put way more money into sport than other countries do. If you're a really good Australian swimmer, you can make a lot of money. If you're a really good Chinese swimmer, you can make a lot of money. If you're good in track and field, if you're good in others, you can make a lot of money. Here's the way the USOC works. If you win medals, your sport gets money. If you don't win medals, your sport doesn't get money. So the United States has not been very good at weightlifting. They get no funds. Weightlifting is nothing, except for the membership, the members that they have. Maybe some sponsors, maybe a few. Every team in the United States doesn't have sponsors. You know, they're like your teams. The reason they can exist is because people pay every month for their children to swim on your team. That's the way it usually works in the United States too. Whether it's volleyball or swimming, basketball, I pay $100 a month. There are some teams though, to businesses, like a company that sells cars. You know the person that owns it or someone that works there. Maybe they're on your board. Maybe there are parents on your board. And you can ask them, do you think your company would want to maybe sponsor just a little bit of money, maybe just enough for travel to the big meet, if we put, you know, something like this on our shirts or on our caps? People that have money, they usually want to give some of that money away because especially if it's something that's good, if it's going to make their company look better, if it's going to make their community better, if they're good people, it's okay to ask because they want to help. So if you live somewhere where there's a good business and you might know someone that's associated with that business, see if you can have a meeting and tell them, let me tell you about swimming. Boys and girls train together. They don't do that in many other sports. Older kids influence the younger kids. They show them how to work hard for something. They're a part of this family. It's going to look really good for your company to sponsor something like that. So I'm not sure how that works in Indonesia or Malaysia or Thailand or any other country. But in the United States, it's okay for us. We're going to go ask someone in the community maybe that has some money to spend. Not a lot, it doesn't have to be a lot, but just can help. And because of that, we're going to let everybody know that you sponsor us. We're going to let everyone know that you're a good company, you're good people, and we're trying to teach our kids something that's going to make our country and our community better. They're going to learn how to work. Here's what I tell our national team, like Nathan Adrian. When we would get together and have a meeting with all of our best athletes. Now some of these athletes graduated from college when they were 21 or 22 years old, and they kept swimming until they were 30. So he graduated when he was 22, and he went to work. Nathan Adrian now working until he's 30. 8 years. He's earning money for 8 years. Now Nathan would have sponsors and was earning money for medals and so on. But if Nathan at 30 walks into the company where he's working and there's a job open, what I would tell my athlete, what I would tell the national team, these members, because they were all worried that they were so old now, they missed those years in their 20s. I would say to them, you know what you want to tell the person who's doing the hiring, the boss? You tell them, I don't know a lot about your company, but you know those other 20 people that want this job? I will outwork them. I will outwork them because I know what work is. I worked hard. And if I'm gonna hire somebody, I want you. I don't care if you don't know anything. I know you're gonna work hard. So that's an advantage to being an athlete. And you can sell that to the parents. You tell the parents, if they learn how to work hard, they're gonna be able to go to a company when they finish and say, I know what it is to work hard. You can hire me. I will work hard for you.
Oke, thank you. Perlu dijelasin ya? Intinya kerja keras. Nah itu aja deh, dua kata aja, kerja keras. Jadi tadi pertanyaannya cari sponsor dan bagaimana tentunya sponsor akan melihat hasil performance prestasi yang bagus. So we have to give them first, dapat prestasi baru kita bisa cari sponsor dan tentunya harus bisa di-maintain. Oke, terima kasih. Saya juga mungkin pamit. Mohon maaf kalau kurang sempurna. Mudah-mudahan besok 2 hari ke depan bisa mendapatkan ilmu yang lebih baik dan kita segera mendapatkan Olimpian kualifikasi A. Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.